What's up, it's Vicious here, and welcome back to another video. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I'm a Pokemon GO spoofer, and I have been for pretty much 6 years now. I spoof pretty much from the very beginning, and so I followed it through all the different applications, from PG Sharp to Polygon to back in the day we used FGL Pro, some like ancient technology. Don't worry about it. But I just want to talk about the future of spoofing, and I thought I'd make a video because I've been doing some very casual spoofing. I've mostly been using Aerolate, one because it's free, and also because it just gives me the most power over what I want to do. I don't really want to automate everything, but I just wanted to talk about the future of spoofing, and sort of some of the consequences as well for spoofing and what it looks like for the future, right? So let's explore the current spoofing landscape. So you have different apps, right? You have you have all these auto apps like Polygon and PG Tools. Those are pretty much the most popular ones, and those are for rooted Android devices. In terms of non-rooted Android devices, there aren't really many options out there. You have non-root apps like PG Sharp, which are completely unsafe, and pretty much just get banned within 2 or 3 days of using them. Reported strikes have been continuing for the last 2 years or so. Like you'd use PG Sharp, or like let's say iPogo on an unrooted device, and you would get banned pretty much instantly because these were modified applications that changed basically Pokemon Go and then made you play that changed version. And Niantic had a very easy way to basically get rid of these players. So that was absolutely out the window, right? And now what we have is basically just you're either rooted Android, and the other alternative actually is jailbroken iOS. But jailbroken iOS is a complete mystery, pretty much. Like it's difficult to do. Rooted Android's a little bit difficult to do. It's not as hard. It's getting more difficult though. You're having to install these different mod packs, and you have to install these different modules on your rooted device just so that you can spoof. So it's getting more technically difficult, but it's still doable, right? And there's lots of players who have never been banned, never gotten a strike. But for the future of spoofing, it seems like the way that we're going, it seems like, and bear with me here because we haven't had a lot of bans for rooted devices in a while. The last ban wave was about a year ago. It does seem like we're probably going to get a ban wave, and I'm not doing that just to like stoke terror or whatever. I mean, I could say whatever I want. I'm just yapping right here, to be fully honest with you. I'm just yapping. But I find it difficult to believe that they banned us once and they're not going to do it again. They're 100% going to do it again. So what am I even trying to say here? So what I'm trying to say is if you've had 2 strikes, right? And the second strike, so the first strike bans you for 7 days. The second strike bans you for 30 days. If you've had 2 strikes, just like me, and you care about your account, I wouldn't be spoofing anymore. And this isn't some like, okay, you know what, like I'm not gonna do it, so you shouldn't do it. This is just more like if you care about your account or not, right? If you care about your account, I probably wouldn't spoof because these methods are never 100% safe. They never have been, right? And even though they're safe for now, that doesn't mean that that's not going to change in the future. And the only thing stopping you from getting permanently banned, which is the only thing you should be really caring about, because a strike, okay, you get a strike, who cares? 7 days of not playing, sure, you miss an event, fine, whatever, who cares? But if it's permanently banned, it's gone forever. Nobody gets their permanent accounts banned. Nobody gets their accounts permanently banned, and nobody gets them back. It's cooked. The second you get banned, it's done. So if you care about your account and you're thinking, oh, it's safe to come back, it's whatever. I wouldn't spoof still. I just think it's not worth it if you care about your account. If you spend thousands of dollars on your account, it's going to get banned. And then you're going to be like, okay, why did I do that in the first place? We knew this has happened before, right? And just because it hasn't happened in the last 6 months, 8 months, a year, doesn't mean that it won't happen very soon. And I'm thinking it's going to happen very soon. I feel like, January, February, I feel like there's going to be a wave of anti-spoofing, and they're going to get us. And this could be anything, right? The last ban wave that we never actually figured out, it seems like we never actually figured out what it was. We didn't know whether it was behavioral. We didn't know whether it was a technical thing. We didn't know whether it was like, okay, if you're rooted, you're good. If you're not rooted, you're not good. If it was a module you had, there's so many different variables here. It's so difficult to test, right? And I imagine people, people who are developing these applications obviously have to backtest all their stuff, right? They're basically, it's a cat and mouse game of like, the people who are trying to develop these spoofing apps have to be one step ahead of the developers. I find it hard to believe that that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Like, there is definitely going to come a time where Niantic's going to catch up, and they're going to banwave everyone, and everyone's be like, what the fuck? We all just got banned, and everyone's going to start crying and yapping. And the real deal is, like, you shouldn't have been doing it in the first place. Now, obviously, I've been spoofing for a long time now, and I spoof because I just don't give a shit, right? Like, I'm just spoofing for fun. Like, this is enjoyable only because I'm spoofing. If I wasn't spoofing, I just wouldn't even be playing the game. And I don't do this to dominate PvP. I don't do this to catch. I literally just do it to catch funny Pokemon, and they look cool, right? I mean, if you look at, like, I don't have a single PvP Pokemon on this account, probably. I don't do it at all, because that is just not even that fun to me. If I want PvP, I go to Pokemon TCG Pocket, right? Which I do make videos on now, by the way. 300 views, we'll take it. We'll take it. But the main concern I have with is this sort of like lack of awareness of what's actually going on. And I think, going forward, we're going to get stronger spoofing apps. As long as rooted Android is still fine, and as long as they're never going to change previous versions of Android. And the only thing that they could possibly do is stop support for older Androids. And that would screw a lot of the spoofing techniques over, because a lot of these spoofing techniques are based on older Android devices, and older Android versions. Like right now I'm running Android 11. That's definitely not the most updated Android, and that's why this is such a laggy video, right? Is because I'm not actually running on the latest version of Android. And so it's not the most updated software, and so they stop caring about it. But if Niantic suddenly decides, screw everyone, we're gonna be supporting only a certain level of Android, and after, that's gonna make it very difficult for people to actually play on the actual app, right? You're gonna see more modded applications, which is gonna be bannable pretty much instantly, as mentioned before. And there's also, so that's fine. So that's one of the moves that they could make, right? But there's also one thing I also want to talk about is I recently got reached out to. I get reached out by these sponsors, right? For lots of sponsors. These sponsors are always based in like China or whatever, right? And here's an interesting thing. So all these different sponsors are based off in China and Shanghai and Shenzhen. And they're all, so these companies are from Shanghai and Shenzhen, and they reach out, and it's like Go and whatever. They're all something Go. It's always something Go, which is hilarious. But they're basically just spoofing apps that you connect your phone to by USB, and they don't work anymore. I don't know a lot of people who do use these apps, but they don't work anymore, and I'm not sure if I even covered it back in the day, but they don't work anymore for me at least. And for some of the people I've talked to, maybe you guys can get it to work. Maybe some of you still use these applications, but they don't work anymore. And honestly, I'm not sure why. I feel like these guys were using the base Pokemon Go version. They didn't modify the app in any way. They weren't changing. They didn't change much, to be fully honest with you. They didn't change much. It's not behavioral stuff, because you literally there's no bots. It's just manual play. You're literally just teleporting around. It doesn't change any of the gameplay at all. It's just teleporting. But they were able to get those people. So, and it's just all these different things, all these different news that come out where, they're cutting all these different corners off for spoofing. And it's interesting because it feels like the circle is getting smaller and smaller, right? Now it's literally only rooted apps. Jailbroken phones, I mean, you can do it, but it's still risky, and I don't even know a lot of people who do use rooted apps, jailbroken phones to spoof anymore. And I think once rooted phones are done, it's done. So this is the last frontier for spoofers, essentially. And that's kind of dramatic, to be fully honest with you. It's just spoofing. Who really cares, right? I don't think a lot of people actually care that much. It's just a fun little thing to do on the side, right? But yeah, just my thoughts. Like, if you have an account that you really care about, and you care about it getting banned because you're spoofing, I'd probably stop spoofing. Because, even though there's a lack of news about, how many pieces are being taken away from us as spoofers, they're coming for you. So, yeah. See ya.